It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha! Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the Brouhaha. Marshall and Dale here, ready to go. Exciting times, exciting week. Lots of going on out there, Dale. Big weekend.
Oh, upset weekend. Upset weekend, wasn't it? Upset.
Yeah, really. How about that Sun Belt Conference?
Hey, they're pretty good, aren't they?
They obviously are.
Had three and brought home a ton of money.
Well, tell us about that a little bit.
Well, I kind of had to look this up, but Marshall got, if you can believe this, they got $1.25 million for going to Notre Dame and beating them. Georgia Southern, who's in the Sun Belt, all these teams are in the Sun Belt, by the way, folks. Southern Miss picked a good one, didn't they? Yeah. Georgia Southern got $1.43 to go to Nebraska, and they even had to play overtime. But they won that one. And I guess the shocker again, we reflect back to 2007, Appalachian State beat Michigan in 07.
Yeah.
If you remember that.
Tore the world down.
Yeah. Well, Saturday they went to College Station, and Jimbo paid them $1.5 million
to beat him.
And the worst part of it is Appalachian State's offense kept the ball for 41 and a half minutes. Wouldn't even let him have the ball.
Oh, Jimbo, bless his heart. He's behind Summerlin's schedule on there. I don't know if he's not doing well. He's recruiting well, though.
He's paying well. He's paying everybody well. Players, teams, come on, whip us. It don't matter.
Yeah, we'll pay for a good whooping.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, exciting weekend, and some. I tell you what, real good game played out there in Austin too.
The
Crimson Tide had their hands full.
Yeah, that was a thriller, and Bryce Young on that last drive, he kind of showed his true colors, didn't he?
He did, and I tell you what, he showed it a lot throughout that game. I thought, Dale. I mean, I saw him doing things and creating stuff and under duress and spinning and planting those feet and getting that ball out of there quick. He really is good.
Well, I admire Texas. They lost their number one quarterback.
Yeah.
And then their second team quarterback, he was hobbling around there, but he got the job done for them.
Yes,
I mean,
he did.
they didn't score much in the second half, but it was an exciting ball game for sure. But you always know, it goes back to that clock management, you know. And you just maybe allowed Alabama a little too much time.
Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, especially for a field goal.
Yeah.
Because on a field goal, it really, if you can get the ball, 40 yards down the field, you got a shot. And in this day and time, is how good these kickers are.
Yeah. Exciting weekend. We have an exciting guest with us tonight.
Man, we got one.
He's a good one. Tell them about who we got.
All right, we got Steve Buckley. He's the head football coach at Jones Junior College. His team was ranked 13th in the preseason poll, and he shot number 5 in East Mississippi Lions. And so, there's kind of 4 dominant teams. And, of course, we're going to ask him this question during it right now. But the 4 teams that seem to be the past couple years, and it changes every couple years because junior college, they have a lot of turnovers, every 2 years. But right now it seems like Jones, East Mississippi, Northwest, and Gulf Coast are kind of the top 4, and everybody's chasing those 4. Yeah. And, of course, in junior college football, you can get upset any night.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a question when we come back after this Buckley interview about the transfer portal and maybe an unexpected result. But we'll get to that later. But first, let's hear from our sponsor, and then we'll be back with Steve Buckley, head coach of Jones College, and we'll be back right after this message.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Coach Steve Buckley from the Jones County Junior College Bobcats. How you doing today, Coach?
What do you say, guys? Heck, I'm doing good. We had a big win last night. It's Friday night, Mississippi, so you got high school football going on everywhere. JUCO ball was last night, and the Bobcats won. So it's a good day.
Man, what a day.
What a day. Well, tell us a little bit about your game last night. Now, I know that you ran the ball really well. You had a pretty balanced attack, but you seemed to stuff the run a little bit from East Mississippi. They really couldn't get the running game going. But just tell us, maybe some things for the people that weren't able to come to the game, just what kind of transpired and what kind of team you played.
Well, let's just start with East Mississippi. Heck, let's face it, over the last whatever years, they've kind of been a dynasty in junior college football. And I guess we've all been chasing them. And I'm not going to say we called them or anything like that. I played Buddy 4 times in the time that I've been at Jones. It's always been close ball games. I think they do an incredible job of coaching, recruiting, winning games, and winning national championships. But, I thought going in, I thought we were pretty equal. I think we busted our butt recruiting and done a great job of maybe trying to level the playing field. And, well, heck, I'll just say it. I think football in college is about recruiting more so than coaching. There's a bunch of guys that can coach, and we recruit our tails off. And I think we've got a plan that we put in when we took this job here 6 years ago that we try to follow every year. And we tweak it a little bit, but we know what we're looking for at certain positions. And, it's exciting to see our kids being on that stage and being able to perform at that level against really good competition, because I think East Mississippi is a really good football team. And it was a heck of a game last night. It really was. I thought we dominated at times. I thought we basically messed it up at times, which is uncharacteristic of us. And but the Bobcats came out on top, and it was a great feeling at the end.
Well, you still got a little unbalanced in the Mississippi JUCO League between the haves and the have-nots. But I need to ask you a question for us dated guys. Back in the day, the colleges had a freshman team and a JV team. And like Ole Miss, Alabama, and all those, and they used to play, and sometimes they would play a junior college. But how do the elite teams in, say, the Mississippi Junior College compare to those freshman and JV teams back in the day?
That's a heck of a question. And I'm not going to be critical of a 4-year school, but if you look at the national situation with junior college football, this is why I think Mississippi's special. And I've recruited across the country. When I was at Southern Miss and LSU, I recruited Kansas, Arizona, California, Texas, even up in North. And I always said, why am I out here? We got the best programs right here in Mississippi. At the same time, I want y'all to look, and I don't want to be critical of anybody, but look, there are junior colleges in America that play JV teams still. I bet y'all didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't really know it, because it doesn't happen around here, so I didn't know. I don't.
No. Well, it's big boy football down here. Yeah. But you're going to find, if you'll look at it, and I don't want to get in. I don't want to be negative about any 4-year school or any other junior college, but there are a lot of junior colleges that play the JV teams from certain 4-year schools. Now, it's not Ohio State and Alabama and Southern Miss and Ole Miss and State. They can't have JV teams. But there still are. The military schools have JV teams. There's several divisions that have JV teams, and they don't fare very well versus the junior colleges they play.
Wow.
I'm going to leave it at that. So you're asking how would we match up? I can't answer that.
Well, I guess what my question was, it seems to me, seeing those freshman teams back in the day, and the junior colleges actually, I remember one year Gulf Coast came up and beat the heck out of a Southern Miss team, a freshman team, and that was way back in the 70s. And Southern has some pretty good talent. If you remember Fred Cook and all those guys down there, they were pretty good, and they got hammered that night. But what I'm saying is that it looks like, to me, you guys now are the old version of that, as far as playing,
I'm gonna
because
be honest with
you are their feeder. You are their feeder program.
Yeah. Well, I would love to be somebody's feeder program. I wish somebody would trust me enough to say this kid's not ready to play for us this year. keep developing because here's what everybody doesn't understand. We're a developmental program, and we try to develop kids in 3 areas: socially, academically, and athletically. And I mean that. I want to get kids to the next level, but I want them to be able to perform in all 3 of those areas when they get there. I would love a 4-year school to say, hey, Coach, I got 3 kids that are ready to play for me. I'm going to send them to y'all, and then you let them play for y'all a year, and let's see what they do next year for me. I don't know. I've thought about that long and hard. I've even shared that with a few Division I buddies of mine. I know everybody wants their hands on kids. Nobody trusts anybody anymore. But I know this. We try to do it right here from, as I said, socially, academically, and athletically. And we have signed more kids to Division I football schools than anybody in the country the last 5 years. And if you look back at that, and what my kids are doing or our kids are doing right now is phenomenal. I love watching Saturday football because I see my kids all over the country.
I remember something you said one time before, Coach, when we were speaking to you, and you said you guys didn't recruit anybody that you didn't deem D1 talent. So you set the standard high from the beginning, do you not?
Well, I told my coaches when we put our plan in place, it's not my plan, it's our plan. We developed a plan. You know, my background was high school and D1. I was scared of junior college. I didn't know how to do it. I had some guys teach me how to do it. You're dealing with a limited roster. You're dealing with a quick turnaround. You can fix your roster quick. At the same time, you got to be careful who you sign. I told my coaches, do not bring me a kid unless you think he's a Division I football player. And I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of coaches, high school coaches, that are friends of mine that don't agree with that they say, well, my kid can play at Jones, and I don't think they can, and they disagree with me. But that's okay, too. I think, you know, when every guy on my staff has Division I background, that doesn't make you a good coach. Some of the high school coaches in our state could coach in the NFL. But from a talent standpoint, you've got to have a skill set to play Division I football. You know, there's a bunch of Rudies out there. You know, there's a bunch of kids that's going to make it, and I'm all for those guys. Heck, I was one of those guys. But you've got to have a skill set right now to perform at our level. And I want Division I players to help them get to the next level.
Well, you got a couple good ones on your team this year. I noticed that the thing I noticed about the game last night, Coach, was East Mississippi had a lead for 20 seconds. And it didn't long for you to respond after their touchdown. You decided to give the ball to Trent Howell, which
they shouldn't have had that lead for that long. That was our own darn fault.
Yeah, well, 20-second lead ain't bad in a 60-minute game. But I remember last year watching Trent Howell from George County, and he kind of took over and scooted about 75, and then Henry took it on in. Tell us about Robert Henry. He must be a special guy. No Division I people really came after him?
Not really. You know, I think he had some early offers, and look, recruiting's funny these days. Everybody throws out offers. I mean, some schools throw out 800 offers a year. You know, but anyway, Robert is special. I mean, he is a sprinter, number one. He can play physical. He has great ball skills. When I say sprinter, he has elite speed. Zach Jones, his old high school coach, is a good friend of mine, and you know we talk, in the summer and when I was recruiting him, and you know he told me a lot of good things about Robert. I love Robert. I think the best thing that ever happened to Robert was playing behind LaDamian last year, LaDamian Webb. He learned how to be a complete back. You know, Zach won a state championship at Lumberton with Robert as his quarterback, shotgun, wildcat quarterback. But, you know, you got to understand pass protections. You got to know how to pick up blitzes. You got to know your route in the passing game. And I think him just watching LaDamian last year and playing a lot, but not playing probably as much as he wanted to, made him a better back. But I love Robert. I told Robert this morning, we watched film at 6:45 with our kids this morning. If Robert would hug his cuts and stay inside on power, he'd probably rushed 300 last night. He still wants to bounce everything outside. But Robert's really done good. You mentioned Trent Howell. Love the kid. To me, changed the game. We had a low snap. The punt got blocked. They scooped and scored, made it, I guess, 7-3 their favor, and Grant hit for 75 yards. Just incredible kid, works his tail off, high academic kid, elite speed for a smaller kid, but is going to have a big year, big 2 years at Jones.
Well, I guess just looking at the overall league now, you knocked off an East Mississippi, and I know it's early in the year, and Gulf Coast is usually not 0-2 at this time of the year, and of course you got the guys.
Well, they won last night. They were 1-1.
One. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
They beat Itawamba last night.
Yeah. What about the what about those four, as we call them around here, the Big Four? How do they all shape out this year? Do a lot of them have veterans? I know Northwest don't they have a lot of veterans coming back compared to the other JUCO teams?
Well, let me tell y'all this. Everybody's got veterans, because COVID was 2020. The 4-year schools will reap the benefits of COVID for another 2 years. But we're on a 2-year cycle here, so the kids got a free year in 2020. So there's a lot of third-year guys on everybody's team.
I got you. Okay.
And I would never say it's the Big Four in Mississippi Junior College.
Oh, I know you wouldn't.
The Big Four team.
I understand you. You kind of had to be neutral on this, but folks around here just, I'm just throwing them out there. Whatever everybody else thinks.
And look, I get it. I see how people can see that, but I just know this. We came to Jones in 2016, and Jones won 2 games the year before. We kind of flipped the roster quick. If you can coach and you can recruit, you can change the roster to hurt. And you are not going to out-coach people in this league. You're just not. You better out-recruit them. And I mean that. Every coach, I respect every coach in our league. I used to hate Mississippi Junior College when I was recruiting from Southern Miss and LSU. It was just a fight every night, crazy acting. It is not that anymore. It is I've had the best time coaching junior college football I've had in my life, of my coaching career.
Wow.
It's fun every night.
Well, Coach, tell us about who you have next week.
We got Colin.
Okay.
And, Glenn Davis. Glenn's a little bit older than me, and we're neither one of us spring chickens.
He's been there a while,
hasn't he? Been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, he's been there a long time. He's been there a long time. I remember when he was at Mississippi State.
Yep. Well, Glenn, I'm from Natchez, and Glenn coached at Natchez for a long time, right after I left there. But anyway, Colin does a great job. They've got great coaches. They do a great job recruiting. They're 1-1. They were. Let me tell you this: it was 3-0 against East Mississippi last week at halftime when we played them the first game. So Colin can play. They always give us a heck of a battle. It's our first district game, our South Division game. So we better be ready to play. We can't sit here and think we're good because we beat East Mississippi. We got to get ready to play.
I'm going to change the script a little bit, and you talk about when you're talking to these young men and you're recruiting them. What would you tell high school athletes they needed to do and to work on to be recruited by you?
What a good question.
That's the only one. That's the only good question I've ever asked. I appreciate you saying that, Coach.
Look, I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to tell you the truth. I think the number one thing I tell them is to be honest with themselves. I think that a lot of times parents and daddies have aspirations for their kids that are not real.
Yeah.
And it bothers me to watch a parent push a kid to try to be something he can't be.
Yeah.
Heck, I had it with my own son. My daddy probably had it with me. We were average as grits. My son was average as grits. It's okay to be average in football, but be successful in life.
Yeah.
But we play so much 7-on-7. We play so much travel baseball, AAU basketball, which I get it. It's all great. But let's don't put expectations on our children that aren't real. Because when reality hits them in the face, they will fail.
Ooh, yeah.
I would tell a kid to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I get hammered all the time for not offering local kids.
Yeah.
And here's the reason I don't offer a kid that I don't think can play. The old-timey way was to offer a kid because he's close to home. And I get that. You know, the more local kids, the more seats are filled in the stadium. At the same time, if little Johnny's local and he's not playing, his parents live locally and they stir up crap in your system or in your community. If that makes sense.
A lot of sense.
Well, and just be realistic. You know, when I was the head coach at Petal, Ray Perkins was from Petal, and we all know Ray. He was at Alabama, All-American. He followed Barrett Petal. Well, all my parents wanted to send their kids to Alabama football camp. And I asked one day, why are you doing this? Well, my son's going to play at Alabama. I took a deep breath, and I told him, I said, your son will never play at Alabama. He has no chance at playing at Alabama. And I think realistic opportunities are what kids miss.
Yeah.
You know, we want to chase Alabama, Georgia, Southern Miss, LSU, ... But look, if you can play Division II football, play Division II football. If you can play NAIA football, play NAIA football. If you're a Power 5 football player, be a Power 5 football player. And usually it's not the kid's problem. It's usually the parents' problem that push them more than they really are.
Yeah.
And I believe in pushing kids. Don't get me wrong. But I think realistic expectations are what needs to be presented to these kids.
Well,
and if that offends people, I'm sorry.
No, that's profound, and I really dig your answer. You know, sometimes parents can get caught up, particularly dads, I suppose, in living vicariously through their children, and that's not going to get anything done but feelings hurt in the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
no doubt.
I had a college coach tell me one time about recruits. He said, my advice to you is when you're dealing with someone, a parent or a student athlete that wants to go on and play college, go where he can play. And so you got to figure out your level too. Like you said, and
recruiting's changed so much, guys. I mean, with this portal crap, it is a fiasco in my opinion. Heck, I watch college football on Saturday, and it's like free agency.
Let me ask you a question, Coach. I hate to interrupt you. I want to get this thought in before I forget it. You talk about the portal. Now, we all look at that, and I'm like you. I ain't crazy about it. But, you know, does that happen at the junior JUCO level too? I mean,
No.
It does not.
No, absolutely not. Now, I'm going to say this. If I release a kid, or if I don't want a kid back in my program, unless he is a kid that has done something, let me see, I want to say this.
Wrong.
I would never hold a kid that is a year out of high school back from getting his life fixed.
Yes.
I've released kids. I'll tell you this. I had a kid my first year that I released. I told him, you're not going to play here for whatever reason. Wouldn't go to class, just whatever. What didn't fit into what I wanted to accomplish at Jones. And another junior college wanted him. I did like the kid. And I released him to that junior college. That night we played them the next year. He had 16 tackles, and they beat our butt by 3 points. And I will tell you this.
Yeah.
I went on the field and found him and shook his hand. He was the first person I found and told him, congratulations, you've done well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to finish the story. He couldn't graduate from that junior college for whatever reason. He called me the next year and asked me, could I get him back in Jones to help him graduate, and I did.
Great story.
You know, the portal is a fiasco, in my opinion. Again, I'm old school. I don't believe in all that. You know, if the coach screams at you, it's time to go to the next step. I think, you know, I just think that kids run from their problems, and what we're teaching society is if you know, I didn't get my way, pick up my toys and go home. Yeah. Are there situations in the portal that work? Yes, there are. but the majority of the kids that go in the portal, unless you're a great player or you developed into a great player, are getting left out.
Yeah.
Well, do you get many transfers from Division I, or how do they end up with you?
No, no, absolutely not. That's over.
Okay.
It has changed junior college recruiting, changed junior college football. We're not going to get those kids anymore. They all go in the portal, and the NCAA has done a good job this year of giving a timeline on the portal. So they've got to make a decision by a certain calendar, whatever the time is. But no, we don't. I've got a kid from Akron who's done very well for us. I've got a kid from La Tech who's done very well. My transfers have been good, but we don't get it like you used to. No. I mean, a kid's not going to answer Jones Junior College football coach's phone when he's waiting on Ohio State or Alabama or Southern Miss to call. It's just not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody goes in the portal and think they're moving up. Most of them are moving down.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter. They don't give the statistics very much, but the guys that go in the portal, most of them are going down. They don't know it.
Yeah.
Well, now
Or they go nowhere.
Yeah.
I heard somewhere.
Hey, I'll tell y'all this. I had a guy that I chased in the portal last year, really good defensive end, really, really good, and I needed him bad. I could not get him to comply. He didn't want to talk to me. I finally got a hold of his mama, and she said he's not going JUCO, ... I said, okay. I said, he's not going to sign with a Division I school. He called me Wednesday night, like 2 nights ago, before we played East Mississippi, and said, Coach, do you have a spot? Nobody took me. And that's what happens to them. They get left out. But you guys don't hear the stories of the guys that got left out.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere or heard, I may be way off on this, but there's a couple of thousand or better people in the transfer portal at any time is what I heard or read somewhere. That's phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Thousands of kids running from their problems instead of fighting and biting and clawing.
Love it.
Well, we talked a little bit about one of your former quarterbacks last year, Stinson Bennett, and I think he's done quite well for himself. What are your thoughts on his success over at the University of Georgia?
Well, this is documented. I love Stet. Matter of fact, Davis Harrison, one of Stet's best friends who played safety for us, got married this summer, and Stet was in the wedding, and we went to the wedding, my wife and I did, and my family, and I got a long visit with Stet. First of all, I'm very, very proud of him. He is a testament to everything I just said, the opposite. He believed in himself. I did not think Stet would play at Georgia. I just didn't. Not because of talent, but because of the way recruiting is this day and time. It's been incredible. I watched him last Saturday, talked to him Saturday night for the game, played incredible. I think Coach Funkin, who I work for, has opened it up a little bit for Stet. I think Coach Smart has said, we trust him. We believe in Stet. Let's go. He proved us all wrong. But, not only did he prove them wrong, he proved everybody wrong. I mean, everybody, except his family. I'm just proud of him. I really am. And I'm proud of Day Hawkins, my kid I had last year that played for me. He signed with Grambling. And he called me last Tuesday night, said, Coach, they named me the starter. They brought a kid in from UCLA. They brought a kid in from Syracuse and one from Kentucky, and I beat them all out. and I just,
it's amazing.
I'm as proud of Day as I am of Stet. I really am. I mean that. And that's what we do. And that's what gives me gratitude as a coach, because I'm a little bit older now.
Yeah. Coach, I've got to interrupt here with you and Dale. I'm the timekeeper, and we're about out of time. And what a great interview. What some great principles that we can hang our hats on, kids can hang their hats on. We thank you so much for taking your time and visiting with us. And what you're doing and the way you're impacting lives, that's phenomenal. We appreciate you, Coach.
Well, guys, I'll tell you this. They're impacting me as much as we are trying to impact them. I love these kids, and it's just been a fun ride.
Well, I want you to hang on with us. We're gonna sign off on this break, but just hang on with us. We're gonna take a break and come back, hear from some of our sponsors, and we'll be back in a moment with the final segment of the Brouhaha right after this word.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back. I tell you what, as promised, Steve Buckley, man, he's a jewel, isn't he?
He is.
He's a fine man. He loves these kids and coaching football, and he's excited. I like talking to that guy.
Hey, we could have talked to the guy for 3 hours, or he could have talked to us because he was rared up about that win. He didn't win last Thursday night. You know, I'm very proud of Jones. You know, a lot of people especially from our area, are connected to Jones. Went to Jones, especially back in the day.
I had a little time in Jones.
Yeah, everybody does. Everybody got to serve their time at Jones. Right. You know, my dad, he told me once something about one of my sisters wanted to go straight from high school to one of the 4-year schools, and he looked at her, and I remember him telling her, he said, you know, as long as there's a Jones Junior College, that's where you'll go for 2 years. Ain't missing no words about it.
Oh, man, it's handy. And I tell you what, I love my time there. I mentioned something before we talked to Coach Buckley. I was going to bring something up about this transfer portal, and I think he might have mentioned it. But, you know, I think there's an interesting, it may be too early to tell, but we talk about these defeats that you know, you talked about these upsets, and you know, this transfer portal may be changing more. It may be leveling the field a little bit. Do you think?
Yeah, these backups at these places. You know, the running back from Georgia Southern ran for 200 yards. He was transferred from Florida State. Yeah. Ran for over 200 yards. And a lot of these quarterbacks, like at Liberty, when I watched the Southern Mississippi Liberty game a couple weeks ago, he had a couple transfers. Tennessee and a Baylor transfer. That's high. That's high-powered schools. I think too, you know, it is leveling it out. It's making it more even. And there was an interesting question involving the quarterback battle at Ole Miss.
Yes.
Kiffin was asked about, are you afraid of the loser of your competition transferring out?
Yeah.
And he says, it's probably in the room, but I can't worry about it. I've got to make a decision on what I think is best for our team.
Yeah.
And he said, I think they're both good players, and we'll probably need both of them.
Yeah. Dart had a good night when he came in relief, but you know, Dart can't transfer immediately now. Altmaier can.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, we're out of time, Dale. And I tell you what, I always enjoy our time together, and I appreciate you and what you do for the Brouhaha, man. You get her done. But I want everybody to remember that they can follow us on Facebook at the Brouhaha. They can also follow us on our YouTube channel. That's right, I say it you guessed it, the Brouhaha, and stay in touch. But as for tonight, it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Well, before I say goodbye,
yes,
why don't you tell them who we have next week as our guest, our special guest on our show next Tuesday night, the president of the Mississippi State University.
And
he's going to talk about college football playoffs.
You know, he is on the he's on the board of managers for the he's the main man.
He's the head chairman.
And Mark Keenum.
Yep. And we're going to get a few minutes. So please tune in to us next week also.
And now is it time, Dale?
It's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale, and we'll see y'all next week with a really big show. Take us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.